welcome everybody to another Theme Park Conductor video in studio today. I have my co-host Hollow Gelato with me, and today this is Disney Parks Roundup News. We're going to be talking about news on the West Coast and the East Coast of the Disney parks. But without further ado, let's bring on the man, myth, and legend. And I can already see he's going to crack me up with this one. I have so many questions. What is that?
This is, I got at the 626 market in Arcadia. Abby got it for me. It's this giant baby bottle, but you get free refills with it, because if anyone knows me, I'm a huge drinker. But don't worry, folks, this is non-alcoholic. This is strawberry lemonade.
And let's be clear, I actually saw the full scale of that thing, just before we started this recording, and I don't even think you can finish one full cycle of that and get a refill.
Oh yeah, there's no way. Yeah, there's no way. That's why they offer the free refills, because there's no way you'd be. You know how many times I would have had to make a stop to the bathroom?
Quite a bit. But where can everyone find you on social media?
Absolutely. Well, you can find me on my YouTube channel, Hollow Gelato, where Abby and I cover all the theme parks, Disney, Universal, Knott's Berry Farm. We even dive into Disney Cruise Line. We do life vlogs. We do event vlogs. We do out-of-theater movie reactions. We cover it all. And you could also follow us on Instagram under Hollow Gelato as well. And also my individual Instagram account, the Disney Italiano.
Absolutely. Always great to have Hollow Gelato on a live stream or a recorded video, because me and him just have this kind of connection where if we could survive a 12-hour live stream, we could survive anything. It's crazy.
We did. We came, we saw, we conquered on that one.
And we're already planning our second one, which is going to be absolutely insane by far.
I already have an idea when we should do it, but we'll definitely talk about that
later
on. Yeah.
100%. So the first thing I want to cover with you, this is breaking news out of the Disneyland Resort at Tiana's Bayou Adventure. This is courtesy of TMZ.com. And it's kind of been stirring the internet a little bit with everything we've seen in the parks, both here on the West Coast and the East Coast, meaning the East Coast, preferably with Stardust Racers, and how Kevin Savala rode that roller coaster and unfortunately lost his life. This is just another kind of scary thing we're seeing of a guest, having a near-death experience, which was definitely not good, and it was a young guest at least. And luckily he wasn't hurt, but I want to get your reaction, Hollow Gelato. So let's just play it and see what you think. So it clearly...
And really quick, folks, before we continue on, this does show the actual full fall, so just be aware. It is slightly graphic, because this is a 13-year-old boy that came out of the log, so just be aware of that.
Absolutely, and thank you for that content warning. I have to ask you, since I have it paused here for the second, you don't think it was a ride vehicle malfunction? You think it was deliberately by the 13-year-old boy that deliberately got out of the seat of the ride vehicle, which is the log flume, and literally jumped out?
Yeah. Because I think they actually... Now, Disney didn't so far make an official statement coming from the parks or the company as of yet. This is, I think, strictly from TMZ or from other officials that may have spoken to the family or the people that was in the log. But they said that the boy did jump out of the log. And where you could actually see where you have it paused, where the arrow is, that is actually when the boy jumped out before the log started to descend down the 50-foot drop. And I assume what he was trying to do was get onto the mountain.
Yeah.
because I don't know. Because again, I don't know the full story. I don't know if he panicked, if he got scared, if he has like a disability or what have you. I don't know the backstory. So all I know is they said that he jumped from because he was sitting in the back seat from the very back. So he jumped out of the log on his right, our left, trying to grab onto the mountain. Well, here he slipped off and tumbled down behind the log that he was sitting in. And we talked about it a little bit before last night. Thank God that the logs have a span of time before the next log comes down. Because if a log was coming down after him, he would have been crushed.
Yeah. And I do want to warn everybody, like Hollow Gelato mentioned, this is extremely graphic. So this is a content warning. Just be warned, this is very, very graphic. Here we go. And the way you see him fall like that, that is no joke. Like, I mean, we've talked about it, and many others have talked about it, is that there's mechanics, underneath the water. So what he's hitting is mechanical infrastructure underneath the water. So like you mentioned last night, God was really on his side because he could have died from head trauma. He really could have.
Well, based off of that video thing, I thought he did. I thought he died instantly on impact, but when they said they rushed him to the hospital and he was released that day, I mean, that's a miracle and a half.
Yeah. 100%.
But now this begs the question that the fact that he was able to jump out was out of Disney's control. I don't think that the family is going to do any kind of lawsuit, and even if they tried, they can't in that sense. But I'm wondering when they do the investigation, if the only thing that Disney may get dinged for now is to have proper restraints in the log, because when you're sitting in the log, you're just sitting down and you have the bars to hold on to on the side. Yeah. And I remember this actually happened with the Matterhorn. I think it was back in 1984 when a young boy did the same exact thing that this boy did. And he ended up, unfortunately, dying from it. And ever since then, and they even had, I think, belts then, but the type of belts that they had then was one side, and you click it, but you could also unlatch it at any time. Where now when you go on the Matterhorn, you pull it from one side to the next and it locks in. So I'm wondering now if Splash Mountain is going to need those same safety restraints.
Yeah, and that's something I'm worried about. Well, I'm not worried, but like, I mean, this is just another example of guest behavior in the domestic parks. And I again, I'm just going to call facts as I see it, but guest behavior in the domestic parks has been atrocious over the years, both at Disney and Universal. And it's something that we're constantly seeing a repeating pattern of. And now it forces a company like Disney to reevaluate an attraction that didn't need these safety restraints to now possibly consider it. And after, learning that Disney can't really make a public statement yet, and you have all these independent sources like TMZ and probably others reporting on this. KTLA 5 is one of them, because I was at work this morning and saw the video again on.
By the way, folks, this happened on Father's Day, June 21st.
It did.
And they did shut the ride down immediately for further inspection, but the ride ended up opening one day later, which was that Monday. So it was only down for maybe 24 hours.
And that begs the question, though, because we saw with Stardust Racers, George, we saw them shut down the ride for more than 24 hours. Obviously, different circumstances. Kevin actually passed away. There was a lot more graphic scene to that incident. Then we had Ben Crump, who is known, sorry to say, as an ambulance chaser and loves cases like that to go after big companies. Are you surprised that him or anyone from his legal firm is not saying anything at this point? Because he is a big, huge advocate for, safety at the theme parks.
He is. And I think, as you had mentioned, like, there's different circumstances depending on how the case would go. And I think in this particular matter, there's the difference is, as you had mentioned, the person had passed on Stardust Racers. The young 13-year-old, fortunately, thank God, did not pass. Second of all, where there was proof that the 13-year-old jumped from the log. So that was like from his free will of getting out, where on Stardust Racers, they weren't sure, did the guest have an underlying condition? Was it something in the ride vehicle itself? So that I think there was a lot more extra investigation. But again, where he might come after them is because of the fact of saying, well, if there was proper restraints in the logs, this could have been avoided. And so I think for Disney to kind of save their own butts, they may have to consider that. Because as I said, even though that it was the 13-year-old that chose to jump out of the log, it at least let's prevent from another thing happening where the circumstances could be much worse.
100%. Because basically, if I translate it on what you just said, basically he can argue that Disney is giving any guest the option to do so. Like, there was no restraint.
Anyone can literally get up and jump out at any time. And where the Tiana's down at Walt Disney World,
sure,
there's a I believe there's the bar that comes down, because their logs are much different. They're 2x2, and you sit next to each other, and the bar comes down. Where with the logs out here, you're sitting one behind the other, and you're just sitting in the seats. And as I said, you have the bars you hold on to from the side.
Well, see, that begs the question as well, because we saw an article, and I'm not saying it's tied to this, but we saw an article yesterday, because me and you talk daily, is that Disney's looking to invest $30 billion into the domestic parks. Mm-hmm. Could they take the avenue now and possibly manufacture the ride flumes that we see at the Magic Kingdom's Tiana's Bayou Adventure and incorporate it at Disneyland, so that way they could avoid this situation?
The only issue that I would say no, they would literally have to rebuild that mountain, because when you look at how narrow the track is, it fits that kind of log. Where at Walt Disney World, the logs are much wider, so the track is much wider.
Gotcha.
So if they wanted to have those kind of logs, the ride vehicles, they would have to literally rebuild the whole entire mountain.
Well, hopefully it doesn't come to that. Hopefully, things get settled quietly. But again, after, Kevin's death on Stardust Racers, and now something like this happens, it's in everyone's mind, and it's all over the place. It's like,
and for anyone who is watching, please, if you're going on a ride, I know, if you have young kids, or even if you're not young, sometimes, you could panic, you can get scared and everything. It is worse if you try to get out of the vehicle. Just, if you're on the ride, stay put, and obviously go through the ride. At least you will be safe. I do wonder at times if there's some rides should have but I know people would just press them just to get a rouse out of it. But I wonder if there would be a certain time where they could have an emergency button in the vehicles, that if something was to occur, it would like shut it down. But I think to have that to a guest's disposal, people would just be pressing the buttons just to press them.
Yeah. I think personally, if they were going to do something like that, they would have the seatbelts installed, and they would have some type of electronical sensor that if the seatbelt is unlatched during
Yes.
the ride, then the ride shuts down. It's like a sensor that goes off.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I could see that. But then, like you said, people might be tempted to just, act
Test
up
it
and
out. Yeah.
exactly. Now moving over to the Gordon Ramsay, the Carby, and Earl sandwich.
I cannot wait for this restaurant to open.
Oh
I cannot wait.
man, if many of you don't know, I am a huge Gordon Ramsay fan. Like, I mean, every time I call George, I know he's a huge fan too. I always hear him watching Hell's Kitchen in the background. So me and him are super excited about this.
Yes.
This
Even
video,
when we're on location, when we're staying at a hotel and we're covering an event or something, and it's late at night and we get back to the parks, conductor and I will put on the hotel room TV and we'll put on the channel that has like the Hell's Kitchen marathon or Kitchen Nightmares, and we'll just let it run and we'll just watch it.
100%. This video, I turned off the audio, but this video is courtesy of Theme Park Steve. So big shout out to him for the coverage. But I want to ask you, looking at this building, and seeing all the different, updates to downtown Disney, going that kind of modern look. Is that what Disney's, the Disneyland Resort is trying to do with their downtown Disney? Because I know it was brought up on a recent podcast we did with the Leaving Today podcast crew, that possibly eventually they could explore the avenue of turning Garden Walk into the new downtown Disney. But the fact that they're putting so much money in the downtown Disney, does that seem likely to you?
And honestly, that goes the same thing with the Toy Story parking lot. A lot of people are saying that is also going to be the new downtown Disney. It's like they're adding all these new restaurants. They're putting money into it, updating new exterior, new interior. It's like, why would they be doing that if they're just going to add another outdoor shopping experience for almost 75 acres over at the Toy Story parking lot? And also, as you had mentioned, for Garden Walk. I mean, yeah. I'm sorry, I still think in the future, the Toy Story parking lot beckons for the third gate, the third theme park gate for the Disneyland Resort. And Garden Walk is destined to be another hotel with transportation, a transportation hub.
That's what I'm kind of getting from, because when I look at it, okay, as much as I would love to believe that the monorail is not gonna expand at the Disneyland Resort, I just don't see why it wouldn't. Like, I mean, when you think about the differences between Walt Disney World and their monorail and how it's set up compared to ours, when they've built new monorail foundations for new track, right? Out there, it's a completely different standard because they have to do special drilling, special foundations for the track because they're drilling into swampland. Us, we're drilling into earth. We're drilling into concrete. It's a stable foundation. So that's why I was kind of holding out that we will possibly get an extension to of the monorail to possibly the third gate, possibly the new hotel, which is going to go into that little the Garden Walk, or maybe there's going to be a stop between DCA and the Simba parking lot. I just don't think the monorail is done yet. I want to say it's not done yet. It's going to get extended because,
and I think maybe that's why they're not working on it right now. Yeah. Why would they put money into the monorail when they would have to put money into it again to expand the track.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Because I don't personally, for me, because I know it's been mentioned by, again, the Leaving Today podcast crew and others. Well, they could do a people mover style attraction or, ride transportation. It's just, for me, a people mover, in a way, that's basically a monorail track, but at a slimmer scale. So you already have the monorail track in place. All you have to do is extend it and add more track instead of building a whole new transportation system that would cost a lot more money, I think, in the long run, to operate, to build, to get the ride vehicles, all that stuff. I think it would just be easier to update and extend the monorail track, update and extend, or and create new Mark, what would it be, Mark 8s or Mark 9 monorails with air conditioning, because that's the one thing we kind of suffer out here with our monorail. When it gets too hot, because we are in the summer, it shuts down and
That
people
is
are
true.
forced to walk in the sun, which sometimes it could be brutal.
I think there's a lot of potential here, especially with Disneyland Forward, and I think that's what a lot of people kind of misconstrued about Disneyland Forward is they automatically think it's only for theme park expansion. It's only for new lands, new rides, new attractions. And it is, but it goes beyond much bigger than that. And that's why this is also a 40 plus year project, so to speak. It's not just one individual project, it's a multitude of projects throughout many multiple decades to come of how they want to better the Disneyland resort and encompass that throughout the city of Anaheim, which I think eventually Disneyland will potentially, possibly own a lot of that Anaheim area when it comes to residential and business that's surrounding it, that they may want to take that land kind of back for themselves. And again, this isn't going to be overnight. This
No.
is going to be, in time. And I think with adding more transportation, adding new hotels, adding another theme park gate to it, like again, this isn't going to happen tomorrow, but in time, it's it's going to be pretty big. Now, I do want to mention too, because you had that video up where it was showcasing Gordon Ramsay and Orlo Sandwich, where it has a more up to date, contemporary kind of style, which was not how the typical Downtown Disney was. They're kind of getting into the newer chic, novo kind of style. And I want to ask you, because now you actually have experienced it yourself, can you see the same kind of architect coming out here of how it is down in Disney Springs at Walt Disney World?
Yes, I can see it at a much smaller scale.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I'm still kind of like culture shocked. I'm still like even processing that I was even down there, because when you look at Disney Springs, some of the restaurants, and I mean some of the restaurants, because there's so many, they were like huge. And I'm not talking like buildings like this that you can, go to, Orange County and go to Irvine and see. I'm talking like there were a couple restaurants that looked like a retired steamboat ship and stuff that were actually a restaurant. I'm like, what the heck? And then Gideon's, unfortunately, we didn't get to do that, but Gideon's kind of looks like something you would see at like in a Beetlejuice movie. Like it,
Mm-hmm.
like
It's
all
literally
horror.
walking into the mind of Tim Burton.
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
and then you have all these other different restaurants that are so heavily themed. It's crazy.
And I
And,
know which boat house, not the boathouse. We ate at the boathouse,
oh,
but I
so
know which boat restaurant you're referring to, which actually I think we should go there next time. It's called Paddlefish.
yeah, paddlefish. Because I want to say I'm a huge, but I do like a lot of fish and seafood. So I would love to try it. Now, do I think they can incorporate some of that here? I don't know, because it seems like I would like them to, but it seems like they're kind of getting away from that. Because if you think about it, ESPN Zone was heavily themed to ESPN. You had the Rainforest Cafe heavily themed, and you see that in Disney Springs. And it kind of seems like I mentioned, they're kind of going for that OC Irvine type look,
Mhm.
like very
Now, do
modern
you think
upscale.
now, do you think if the Eastern Gateway, the first time, if they didn't attempt it and they were gonna put in that 4 diamond resort hotel, if they were not gonna attempt it, do you think that the ESPN Zone, AMC, and Rainforest Cafe would still be standing right now today?
Mm, that is a good question. I think yes. Um, I think all three of those would have stayed. Maybe that is kind of a tough one. Um, Maybe the ESPN Zone. I think Rainforest would have been a little bit in trouble, because if
Mhm.
you look at some of the Rainforest locations that are left, that's not in Walt Disney World, but just, in the state of California and other states, they're not getting as much traffic as they once did. So I think that might have been on the chopping block, as much as that pains me to say. I think the ESPN Zone would have been beneficial, even though a lot of people didn't go in there, but like for sports events, World Series, hockey, any, I can't even speak, NHL playoffs, uh, Super Bowl, the uh, World Cup, Olympics, the fact that they can film ESPN shows in that building, which they've done several times during its existence. I think they would have kept that around, especially since Iger made a new deal with ESPN to incorporate more of that. So I think that wouldn't have worked. I think the AMC wouldn't have worked a lot, being that they could have done a lot of movie premieres. Like we saw back in the day with Disneyland Main Street. How many
Mhm.
movie premieres did they do with Pirates and
Mhm.
all these other Disney movies? You know, I think the AMC was, I don't think that was the best of choices to get rid of that. Now, personally, Tortilla Joe's, I'm going to be honest with you. Tortilla Joe's, I could have seen this building go in that spot.
Yeah. Yeah, I think out of all of them, I would have kept the AMC, and I know a lot of people say, "Well, there's an AMC right across from Garden Walk." That is true,
Yeah.
but I think to have an AMC movie theater actually in the resort and to have, like, popular movies for people to go see, like, recently, Toy Story 5 that
Yeah.
just came out, Avengers Doomsday that's gonna come out, I think it would have got a lot of traction at the resort.
Well, see, it would have been an added benefit too, because if you think about it, one of the things at D23, right?
Mhm.
They're using the Honda Center, and it only holds 19,000 people, right? And it's what, a 30,000 plus, you know, indoor arena. Um, I think if they wouldn't have kept the AMC around, they could have had people that are D23 members that don't get the option to um go to the Honda Center, because tickets are, don't even get me started. The tickets are hell on earth trying to get them, but they couldn't have paid a premium price to go to the AMC theater and be in one of the theater rooms and watching the D23 presentations in that theater. You know
Mm.
what I mean? They kind of cross utilized that, and I think that wouldn't have worked. And there's other things they could have done that's probably D23 related, or just doing movie premieres. That would have been awesome. Um, but overall, I'm super excited for this Gordon Ramsay restaurant, not just because I'm a huge Gordon Ramsay fan, but one of the things I had on the screen, um, and let me showcase this again so you guys can see it. Let me go back to it real quick. Is that some of his iconic foods will be incorporated in this restaurant. We have, and I quote, beef Wellington, which I know George is running to try that.
I want to get his beef Wellington. I have had beef Wellington before, but a lot of people say it nothing compares to a Gordon Ramsay beef Wellington.
100%. So we got the beef Wellington, we got the fish and chips, which is my favorite, and I'm dying to try that. And oh god, I'm getting PTSD even naming this one, the sticky toffee pudding. And if many of you don't know, down in Walt Disney World, George and Tommy from Tommy Toon World thought it was funnier than hell to sit there and film their, reviews of their food, which is great because it's funny watching it. I had to be honest, but we were at Mythos. I had the most beautiful red pudding ever, like on camera in person. And by the time I even took a fork to it, it looked like the Titanic was sinking underneath melted ice cream.
It was a swamp.
It was literally a swamp. So it gives me PTSD, but it's a good PTSD. But I'm super excited because Gordon Ramsay is definitely known for his beef Wellington and the fish and chips. Like those are the number one hits. I'm sure he's going to have a couple of his burgers probably on the menu as well because his burgers, like, they're
well, and that's just the thing too. A lot of people can say, "Oh, well, it's a burger. You can get a burger anywhere. It's fish and chips. You can get fish and chips anywhere." But the difference is, this is coming from Gordon Ramsay. His name is on this, and we know how much of a perfectionist he is when it comes to his quality of product and food. So it's going to be a major difference. It's not just going to be a typical burger, a typical fish and chips. It's going to be a Gordon Ramsay burger, a Gordon Ramsay fish and chips, a Gordon Ramsay beef Wellington.
100%. And many of you probably already know, and George knows this, because they did close down the temporary trailer, as I call it, for Earl Sandwich. Like it's permanently closed. So it's getting to a point now where they can announce a date for both restaurants to open. And the second I know that date, I'm not even kidding. The second I know that date, I don't care if I have a reservation for the parks. That is the last thing I'm thinking about. I'm getting down there at the crack of dawn and I'm waiting in front of that restaurant because it would be a absolute dream come true. I mean, like to the high heaven to see Gordon Ramsay there, or what he likes to do, what I've seen in all of his other restaurants, not all of them, but a lot of them, is usually on the grand opening day, he's actually in the kitchen working with the chefs. And how cool would that be? Where he comes out, he, meets with everybody. Dude, I'm telling you, if I get a picture with the guy, I'd be in heaven.
I would think that he would be there for the grand opening ceremony to cut the ribbon for everything. I'm for sure he would have to be there.
Oh yeah, because he was actually. It's funny because there was, as this building has been constructed, like I would say, what it was like 4 months ago, George. It had to been 4 months ago. Like I think we just came back from Walt Disney World, and we saw a picture where they had all the news cameras and everything, and they actually put the marquee on the building in early construction. He was there with all the media and all that, and his iconic white chef's coat that he wears on a lot of his restaurants, his shows like Hell's Kitchen, Kitchen Nightmares, and so on and so on, Master Chef. It usually has the logo, what it is, and it said the Gordon Ramsay Carnaby. And I'm like, okay, so if he's doing that now, like George said, I would have to imagine he's going to be there on opening day. And I'm telling you what, like I said, I sound like a broken record, but if I get to meet that man, and take a picture, I am literally probably going to pass out. And George's wife, Abby, is probably going to have to perform CPR because I might pass out. Because I'm going to be super excited for that. I'm not going to lie. It's going to be one of the most memorable things besides the Walt Disney World trip with George that I will ever cherish ever in my life.
Yeah, I think honestly to go for like a opening, like a grand opening of a restaurant, it's like it's always cool to go to, but it's like if you miss it, it's like okay, that's fine, we'll just go. But this is a Gordon Ramsay restaurant. Like you don't get too many of those of like to be a part of the grand opening. So I definitely want to be there as well for when it first opens.
100%. So I want to ask you, these are, let's see if, okay, there we go. These are actually in the candy shop on the right. Well, if you're going towards Cinderella's castle, it's on the left-hand side of Main Street, but they have a coin machine inside, and there's two coins in particular. There's a Minnie and a Mickey, and it says happy 250th anniversary. I have to ask you, because we were part of a podcast, like I mentioned earlier, with the Leaving Today podcast crew, Mark and Udi. And it's funny because they asked George, if you're going down there, can you get George? I swear on my life, he already has a list of people that are saying, can you get me a set of these coins? Because they're limited. They're limited. And what do you think about the design?
I actually like it. It gives off the of how like the medallions look already, like with the 70th anniversary, and they had like the Star Wars limited edition one. So it does give off that style. But I love how they have like the color scheme of like the red, white, and blue. They have like the classic Mickey and Minnie Mouse like decked out in their 4th of July uniforms. And then of course on the back where it says like happy 250th anniversary or birthday or whatever, however it says. But the fact it actually has 250 on it, that's what makes it so memorable. That's what makes it so limited, because we're only going to have the 250th once, and we're all going to be part of it. So yeah, hopefully when I get down there, because I want to get a set for myself, and then the Leaving Today podcast crew definitely want a set for themselves. So yeah, I probably will be getting like 4 or 5, because it's, as you said, there's two coins, and because I asked Udi, I was like, well, did you want? He mentioned Mickey Mouse, and I was like, yeah, but it's like Mickey and Minnie, they kind of go hand in hand. My OCD is going to kick in that if you only get one coin, you have to complete the set. You have to have 2, So I'm probably going to get like 4 or 5 sets. Yeah, just hopefully, I'm for sure that they have them stocked in. I see that people would go for them, but they're not like the hot ticket thing where like the machine will empty out right away. But there have been times where the machines were out of order. So hopefully that's not the case when I go tomorrow.
Yeah, no, 100%. And something I love about this, like you mentioned, you have the old school Mickey, the old school Minnie, and I love that. I love the colors and all that. And it seems like Disney, and actually I can kind of see on the screen that yellow part, it says Independence Day. So that's really cool. It says that.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of hard to see, but it says Independence Day. But one thing I like is that Disney has really gotten into these coins recently with the 70th, with other celebrations. I think they did the Disney 100th. They did Star Wars. Now they're doing these. And I actually mentioned it last night on the podcast. I said, well, could they do a D23? Because, these coins, for people that collect them, like George, myself, and, a handful of other people, these are fantastic. And like you mentioned, George, these are only going to come out once. There's only one 250.
And they're very good quality. I mean,
Yeah.
they're a good sustainable coin. And I honestly think like they decided to do this to kind of not take the place of the penny coins. Because obviously pennies now are like, moving away, they're obsolete. But now Disney can still get copper and place it in, so you could still get the pennies. But I think like the medallions, I think they're coming bigger, so that it's like less and less that people would be going to like the penny machines, the penny
100%.
machines.
No, 100%. So
And then
again,
where is that located now again?
that is, let's see, it
By
is the Candy Palace. The Candy Palace, right when you walk into the left.
Okay.
Yeah. So a lot of great things they're doing with these coins. I hope they do more of these. But if we jump, let's see. Let me see here. I think let's see here. Give me 1 second because I have so many tabs open. Okay. So if we jump East Coast, because I also have PTSD of the Sam the Eagle popcorn bucket that was supposed to drop at a certain time, and that didn't work out too well. But it looks like Sam the Eagle, it looks like a pin, and it's very limited. It's going for $21.99. I think, I could be wrong. I don't know if these are just park exclusives or you can buy them on the Disney store. But what do you think about Sam the Eagle pin that's themed out to the 250th? What do you think about that?
Well, I think it's great. I think honestly, if there's any mascot that they could utilize for the 250th anniversary of America, it's Sam the Eagle. Especially because I feel like the Muppets are kind of making a little bit more of a comeback. Not even just because they took over Rock and Roller Coaster. I think honestly, even in merch.
Yeah.
And also too, Kermit and Miss Piggy are big during the Jollywood nights during the holidays, which we'll get into that in a little bit. But they're kind of like the headliners over at Hollywood Studios for that. So they use the Muppets, for certain things when they need to. And I think honestly, Sam the Eagle has come out, I think, kind of a little bit more with the merch. Like they have the pin as it's showcasing. They have the popcorn bucket that's going to be coming out on June 30th. They even have like keychains and plushed stuffies of Sam the Eagle that you can get at Downtown Disney. So so I think honestly, if there's any patriotic character that Disney can utilize in their catalog for America's 250th, it's Sam.
Oh, 100%. I love this. I love that Disney kind of reaches deep into the history of iconic characters like Sam the Eagle and so many others. And if we look at, this right here, this you can actually buy on the Disney store. It's currently sold out, but I love, look at the design. Look at Donald Duck. Look at Mickey. Look at Goofy. It's kind of like that
It's like the vintage look of the characters in their patriotic uniforms. And actually, you can meet Mickey, Donald, and Goofy in these exact patriotic uniforms over at Epcot in the American Adventure Pavilion.
Yeah, you can. Because I'll tell you what, I had such a blast in Epcot, just walking country to country. It was phenomenal. Like, I mean, every pavilion, I don't know, it's weird because I didn't really feel like it was teaching. It was kind of like exploring. Like I was like, not to get nerdy here, but I am going to get nerdy here. I felt like I'm Indiana Jones, kind of just exploring what's going on around me and walking, pavilion to pavilion.
And we didn't even really go fully in depth in each of the pavilions.
No.
And that's the beauty part with Walt Disney World is you think that you may have seen a lot, which you did, but it doesn't even crack. A lot of people say, oh, you need at least a week. You could have a week to get your satisfaction, but like I think honestly to be able, I've been going to Walt Disney World almost my whole entire life, and there's still things I haven't seen of it yet.
Wow. So you probably need a good, what, month, 2 months, maybe in 3 months.
Yeah, I mean, like if you really wanted to like try to get everything in, yeah, to because then you would have to, because that's also the thing too. When you get down there, you want to experience all the stuff that you miss. So like you want to go back to the Carousel of Progress, you want to go back to the People Mover, but as you're doing that, you're still missing stuff that you didn't experience yet. So it's
A
like it's almost like you can never it's never completed.
100%. And then the last pin that I found online is this one right here, which is, again, you have the vibrant colors, the old school Mickey, and a different, format. It has Disney 250th celebrates America. I have to tell you, man, I haven't seen anything from Universal yet, but these Disney pins for the 250th are going so hard. Like, I mean,
Mhm.
I want all of them just to buy, throw in my safe, and just keep them away in pristine condition. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
that is beautiful. It's like, how can you argue that? And they're at a decent price. Like, I mean, $25 for a pin. Yeah, I could see where people could say, yeah, that's way too much. But for a limited run, like it says right here on DisneyStore.com, limited edition of 1776. And it's a funny reference to 7076 because of the independence that America got in
Mhm.
1776 when the Declaration of Independence was signed.
Yeah, because you have to think this is like not a typical pin that you'll get like on any given day. As I
Dude,
said, once these pins are gone, that's it. You can't say, okay, well, I'll just try again next year. It's not going to be the 250th next year,
100%. But that's something that I love, and I can't wait to be with Hollow Gelato on July 2nd at DCA with probably mobs of people. I guarantee it. At Soarin' around the world. Or no. Well, it's
Well,
Soarin'
like soaring around the world, but yeah, it's becoming
Soarin'
it's
across
soaring
America.
around America.
Yeah, which probably many of you viewers have already seen POVs or experienced it yourself because it is at Walt Disney World, and I still don't understand why they jumped the gun, but they did. So now it's finally our turn, which actually makes more relevant sense because we're only 2 days away from the 250th celebration, not 3 months. But I won't get into that. But I'm looking forward to it. 4th of July is one of my most favorite holidays just to kind of celebrate America, you know, have some good old fun. Obviously, you can't shoot fireworks off in your backyard unless you want to be arrested, but you know, having a party and just hanging out with friends, that's what I take away from it, and just celebrating that we live in this wonderful country and the freedoms we have. So definitely I'm looking forward to it. And me and Hollow Gelato definitely get in the trouble in the parks. I am
Mhm.
we're two
You know.
knuckleheads. We're two knuckleheads, but
Yeah,
let
yeah, because we'll be in the park July 2nd for Soren. I don't know if it's Soren. I keep on forgetting. Peter keeps on reminding me. Sean Arani keeps on reminding me. Abby keeps on reminding me. I have to get the hint. I don't know if it's soaring around America or soaring over America. It's one of the two.
yeah,
But for that, and then I'll also be back in the park again, actually on the 4th of July, because I want to experience the 4th of July fireworks for the first time ever at Disneyland Park. So
100%. And speaking of celebrations and holidays, we are going to jump about what would you say 6 months forward and go to Christmas.
oh my lord.
Oh God, here we go.
It's that time of year. As soon as we start getting in the Halloween information, here comes Christmas right behind it.
Exactly. So this is from good friends of ours, Tim Tracker. on X. He says dates have been announced for both Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party and Disney Jollywood Nights. Tickets go on sale July 9th for resort guests and July 16th for all other guests. Who's ready for the holiday season? So the dates are announced. I'm going to click through each picture. So Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party takes place at Magic Kingdom. The dates are listed. And I want to ask you, George, because you mentioned you've been going to Walt Disney World all your life.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever done this party at Magic Kingdom? And if you have, what is your experience with this?
So I have done Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. I've done it back in 2012. That was the last time I did it. So
Okay.
I'm for sure that there's a lot of changes probably since then. I actually enjoyed it. I think it's really nice. I think what separates it from Disneyland is that obviously Disneyland you could just come in, you have the parade, the classic Disneyland night parade for like Christmas, and then you have the snowfall down on Main Street, you have the fireworks and what have you. But what I love about the Christmas party is at Walt Disney World is it feels exclusive because it's a paid event, it's after hours. They have a lot of extra activities that I feel like that they have down at Walt Disney World that they don't have out here. Don't get me wrong. After experiencing Disneyland during Christmas time, it's a magical feeling, like no matter what. Being on Main Street and having the snowfall with the music and everything, it tugs at your heartstrings. But I would say, like, as far as like a party style, I feel like Magic Kingdom does really well with excuse me, Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. And also I had the privilege, and I think I had a pin. Speaking of a pin, it was the 2012 pin of the holidays. It was all of lights, and it was shaped like a snowman because I got to experience one of the final times of the Osborne Spectacle Family of Lights at Hollywood Studios, where the whole San Francisco and New York streets just lit up with, I mean, when I say lights, I'm not talking about like little subtle lights on a building. Like this whole thing was like a light gallery.
Wow.
And they always had like a ceremony thing before they picked a person who's a guest, and they had this giant light switch. Literally, it was a giant light switch that they brought out, and they had the person grab onto the switch, and they count down 3 or 10, 9, 8, and the person flipped up the switch, and all the lights went on the street. I really miss that. I mean, I know that they had to close it down for Galaxy's Edge and Toy Story Land, but I wish that they could have still done those lands without getting rid of the Osborne Family Spectacle of Lights.
100%. And the next thing that Tim Tracker posted was Jollywood Nights, and this is at Hollywood Studios. Have you gone to Jollywood Nights? And if you have, what has been your experience with that?
I have not yet experienced Jollywood Nights. I actually would like to. I would like to experience it. I do know, I think they said there was some controversial with it because some people were saying that like it was worth the ticket, then some people said it wasn't, but they in time they said Disney had fixed a lot of the issues that were addressed by the fans, and they said that Jollywood Nights became a lot better. So yeah, Kermit and Miss Piggy does a show in the theater that they hold Beauty and the Beast during the operation hours. Normal operation hours, they hold a show in there during the event. I think like up at the front they put in like a temporary ice rink, and they do like a little show. Ice skaters do performances. They have specialty meet and greets. They have specialty foods. So I've never experienced it, but I would like to go down again during the holidays at Walt Disney World. That would be really cool just to go around, even to the resorts. Because they dress the resorts up all with the holiday decor, and like it's just a great time to be at the parks.
100%. And I agree with you, actually. I would love to go down for Christmas time because one of the things I love about Christmas, not 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 the gifts as much. Now, when I was a kid, that was a different story. But um, now I kind of look at it from a broader perspective. You know, there's a lot of moments that I cherish with Christmas. Like, I mean, being with family, being with friends, enjoying the atmosphere, the smells of all the lovely bakery items, the just interactions with people, especially being at Disneyland and Universal. But Disneyland hits me really hard, especially with the nighttime entertainment on Main Street with the projection mapping and the
Mhm.
fireworks and the music. It really, like George mentioned, it tugs at the heartstrings where a lot of the times you'll hear in my voice, and you might even see me shed a tear or two because
You
it
do get a little choked up with it. Yeah, it's something about being on Main Street when they have that snowfall and they
oh
have that musical procession playing. Um, yeah, as you mentioned with the castle and the lights and the projection mapping, and yeah, it just gives you all the feels. Oh, and speaking of which, that's another reason to go to Walt Disney World for the holidays is I know they have the candlelight procession out here,
yeah,
but the viewing is very limited because it's usually set for like VIP members, Club 33 members, DVC members, and then they have limited standing locations because they hold it down on Main Street. Where down at Walt Disney World, they have it at Epcot and
mm,
they have it in a big pavilion where you could actually sit.
wow,
And it's completely it's sort of like how they do it out here, but the way that it's just done very differently, and they have a different celebrity storyteller each time. Um it's just a great time. You know what I would actually like to do one of these years is go down at the very end of Halloween. So that way, and be there for like 2 weeks,
that'd be
because
awesome.
that way you're there for Halloween and you could do Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, and you could do all the festivities for Halloween, and you could even jump over to Universal for their HHN and then be there as it segues out of Halloween into Christmas,
That'd be awesome.
and
That,
do Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party and Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party all in one trip.
that'd be awesome. I would love that. That would be some I definitely want to do with you in the near future for
Yeah.
sure. And I think once Magic Kingdom stops being a construction zone with at least cars, maybe villains, but definitely with cars, I would love to do that for
And
sure.
honestly, that might be the best time to do it because when Piston Peak and Villains open, you know they're going to use Villains Land for Halloween. There's
Oh,
like, I mean,
sure.
that's like a cash grab right there. And then
Yeah.
even for Piston Peak, because we know how they do out here when they have the Halloween,
Yeah.
and they have it all decked out for Cars Land and everything. I'm for sure they'll do something at Piston Peak as well.
100%. So, George, I'm going to
They could
actually
call it
put,
they could call it Piston Peekaboo.
uh, there you go. I love it. Dang. Trademark that. I'm going to let you take this one away because this was actually your article that you sent me. If you want to take it away and let everybody know what's going on at the Grand Floridian.
Yes, so I had briefly mentioned about like going around the different resort hotels. They have a lot of different offerings and they decorate and they have every, with the decor during the holidays. Well, at the Grand Floridian Hotel, it was always a tradition that they always did that they would literally build a gingerbread house literally from gingerbread. And it would actually be a little mini store. They would actually turn it even, and they would actually sell gingerbread out of the gingerbread house that's made out of gingerbread. It's the wildest. It's so trippy, but it's really cool. But unfortunately, this year, the Grand Floridian gingerbread house won't be returning for the Christmas 2026 season. Um, this is actually the second consecutive year without it. They will be still doing like the miniature holiday displays that'll still be like taking around like the resort hotel and everything. I don't know what the exact reason um why that they're continuing not to do the gingerbread house. I don't know if what, as I said, this is the second year. I mean, I think a lot of people thought that it would be coming back this year. Um, but the fact that they used to do it, consecutively as a holiday tradition, um, it is sorely missed. I hope they do bring it back. As I said, for whatever reason that they're not going to, but there's still a lot of other holiday offerings around the resort that is really cool during the holidays.
Well, let me ask you this, because we actually saw footage last year, and kind of finishing up towards this year of 2026, if my memory serves me correct, that they were actually doing construction in the lobby to build this kind of, I don't know, what was it, like a little bar area in the lobby, if I'm not mistaken, or some type of lounge space
That is true. They are doing a lot of like renovation for the Grand Floridian at the moment. So it could possibly be
related
because
to
of
that.
that. And I'm glad you actually brought that up, because that actually slipped my mind. That is a possibility. They may be waiting till the renovations are done and then they can go back to regular, like, because as I said, because they have to block off a whole entire area just to build this. So
Oh,
that'll take a lot of room. So if you already have things blocked off for an operation standpoint, it's probably a nightmare.
I can only imagine. But um, first of all, have you done this gingerbread house experience?
Mhm. I have.
Okay.
Yes.
The reason why I ask is because one of the things you showed me and Tommy when we're out there for our first time was how many resorts like the Grand Floridian and others that we didn't even get to explore because there's so many of them. Out of all of them during the Christmas time, would you say the number one location is the Grand Floridian because of this experience, or is there another hotel on property that even tops this as a Christmas
Ooh,
experience?
good question. I think my favorite is the Grand Floridian because of these features, but excuse me, but some of the other offerings are very distinctive to that hotel. For instance, if you go into the Polynesian Village Hotel, they have Christmas decor, but it's around the Polynesian culture and how they do. So it's very distinct to that. When you go over to the Yacht and Beach Club Resort, they make like snowmen out of sand rather than snow. So
Really?
it's like very distinct to like that. So each hotel gives you something completely different. But if I had to say that something that kind of gives you that tradition, like Christmas feel, I think the Grand Floridian kind of gives you that feel as if you're walking into like a New York hotel during Christmas time.
Sure. No, 100%. I just kind of find it fascinating, though. A hotel like the Grand Floridian, they couldn't relocate this thing maybe in one of the ballrooms or something, because you said it's an actual, like, they make it to the size where you can actually walk into it and buy a gingerbread.
So what they have, it's basically like I'm trying to think of how to put it. It's sort of like not like a walk through, like drive through kind of thing. So
Yeah.
it's like you walk up beside it and the person is inside and they open the little window
Oh,
and
gotcha.
and then you like order like what you would want and everything. And then they have like a little, yeah, they have like a thing like where you can go into like to pick out your things. But yeah,
Wow.
it's just very trippy. Like to
Yeah.
actually like go into a gingerbread house made of gingerbread to buy gingerbread.
It's like a synopsis. Like,
Yeah.
it's one after another. It's crazy. Oh, man.
But I
But
do hope, as I said, I do hope that they're able to bring it back. Maybe, hopefully, after the renovations, maybe by 2027,
yeah,
for next year, we'll see.
definitely. 100%. Well,
Oh,
let's
and then one other thing too, speaking of the holidays, Another great thing that I love during the holidays is actually at Epcot. It's holidays around the world. And each time that you go into a different country, you're celebrating how that country celebrates the holidays. So
Really?
when you go into Germany, you see the German version of Santa Claus. When you go into Norway, you see the Norwegian Santa Claus. And
Oh,
it's just like they do different activities that fits their culture. It's really cool. That is something that's like a not to be missed during the holidays.
that's really cool. Like, I mean, imagine if they, they do something like that and they give you, it's almost like a travel book, like almost like a passport, and you
Mhm.
go to each one of these pavilions and you meet Santa Claus and you get a special stamp that's Christmas related, but to that culture.
Mhm.
That would
Yeah,
be
because they have,
really
like, certain kind of activity things, like, where they'll have, like, a story time with Santa Claus, and depending on, like, what country you're in, they'll tell the story of how that Santa Claus came about in that culture.
wow. That's
Mm,
really cool. I'm
yeah.
not gonna lie, that's fantastic. Well, let's um let's jump over to some construction. This is all at the Walt Disney World Resort. We're going to start off with the Lakeshore Lodge, which, if many of you people do not know, is going to be the new DVC resort that took over River Country that, at its peak was one of the water parks for Walt Disney World. Then, all these kind of weird speculation rumors happen with a kid dying because of some brain, bacteria and whatnot. Then over the years of River Country being shut down, people were breaking into the area and urban exploring. So the fact that they're building this resort, and I think, George, you mentioned 90% of it is going to be for DVC, and
Mhm.
I would only guess that we're probably going to hear more details at D23, which is less than 2 months away at
That
this.
is crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. What's your overall thoughts about this? Like, the fact that it replaced River Country and the fact that, to start off, it's going to be 90% DVC.
Yeah, I think it kind of was a little bit surprising because normally every time that they make a DVC resort, it's like, okay, well, we were able to still get reservations, and what have you. And I think the fact that they're actually putting a blank statement that, okay, this is going to be solely for DVC members, I don't know, maybe that they have a high demand for this particular resort. So we'll see in the numbers. I mean, if it fills up with all DVC, then Disney made that a good call. But if it doesn't in time, they may have to open up the rooms um, for resort hotel guests. Or if somebody is not a DVC member, you can go through third party sources to buy points. But I know that Disney's trying to crack down on that.
A hundred
Um,
percent. And
Yes, we'll have to wait and see. But if we can't stay there, I'm still would love to go and explore it. I know that this is going to be based off of some Disney IP that really isn't focused on uh, normally, like Pocahontas, Bambi, Brother Bear. So I love how it has like that wilderness, like outdoorsy kind of feel to it.
100%. And before I kind of give my input, I just want to say this video and I think two or three others we're going to review are all from Bio Reconstruct. You guys on the East Coast are so lucky to have him, to get these aerial shots for construction. And I'm glad he is available to do that for us. But kind of looking at this resort, it looks beautiful. I love the fact that it's so close to the water, and having that kind of atmosphere and view. I do love that you know for the views, because obviously there's rooms on both sides of the resort. you know for people that are facing the water, that's awesome. People facing the parking lot, well, sorry. But one of the things, we're seeing details of, and I think it actually has been confirmed by Disney, and correct me if I'm wrong, George, this will have a lazy river as part of its kind of pool area for resort guests.
Yeah, and I love how that kind of like pays tribute to river country in that sense. Because like they had like that old traditional kind of like lazy river kind of thing, but I love how it's like embedded like within, as you can see, like the circular portion like within the hotel. So it makes you feel like it's exclusively for you, you know, that you're staying at the Lakeshore Lodge.
And one thing, and I'm not familiar with Walt Disney World resort hotels, but if I'm not mistaken, this resort is gonna have, you know, the option to stay obviously in the towers that we could see, but it's also gonna have individual bungalows, like little mini houses on site that people can rent as DVC members. Is that something that other resorts have, or other hotel resorts have at Walt Disney World? Because I'm not familiar with it.
The Polynesian Village Resort
Oh,
has the Polynesian bungalows, which are very unique. I have not yet stayed in them yet. I would like to cross that off as my bucket list because I know that they're very pricey per night because you're
sure.
literally staying in your own like bungalow cabin and it sits right on the water.
Yeah.
And I think that's very unique. But I would say like for like a weekend, it's like to be down there, but like take like a weekend from the stay just to spend maybe like 2 nights in the bungalow, I think would be really cool.
No, 100%. So let me ask you this. Do you think we're going to hear further detail at D23, or do you think Disney's mentality is going to be we're going to drop dates and stuff literally right before D23? Because as I've seen in years past, Disney, for whatever reason, it's almost like they can't keep it a secret. They just want to release it, and they wind up releasing it before one of the biggest Disney events of the year that only comes every 2 years, and they release big information. Do you think that's a possibility with this?
Yeah, I don't know why they do that, but I think for this particular project, I think they'll save for D23 because it's already pretty much like the whole, you know, the whole resort is pretty much built. They're just kind of like filling it in now.
Sure.
I'm for sure we'll get like some more details of like some of the offerings of the hotel. And I'm for sure we'll probably get like almost to an official date of when it would be open for reservations.
100%. Well, let's jump over to Magic Kingdom. And again, this is courtesy of Bio Reconstruct. This was filmed only a day ago. So this is going to give us aerial footage of Cars Land, which is AKA Piston Peak, and Villains Land. And George, if you want to take it away and just kind of tell us what we're looking at, because in this video, you are the Walt Disney World legend. You know almost every square inch of Walt Disney World. I've only been there once. You've been there, I think you said 30 times. So
30 plus times. Yeah. I
exactly.
kind of lost track. Every time they send me a survey, they're like, how many times have you been to Walt Disney World? And I just click on 30 plus because it's like I lost track. Okay. So actually, of what we're looking at right here, this is actually a perfect like viewpoint. So let's start off with the bottom part. So I kind of call it the uvula, so to speak. It's like the tonsil that's hanging down. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so you knew exactly what I was talking about. So that is basically what's going to be Piston Peak. That is what used to be the old Rivers of America, Tom Sawyer Island. I know that folks are still very bitter about it going away, but I think honestly, in the long run, I get it. It was a lot, you know, to visually see. It gave you the vibes and everything, but I still think Piston Peak will give us those vibes. I think they're going to put in a lot of mountains and geysers, and they'll fit it around the Cars theme. But that whole area right there is going to be Piston Peak
Yeah.
alone. And then as you come up, that's probably going to be the pathway that connects in that whole back area, literally from over here even to the right, the whole right side. See this? Yeah, like from there all the way over to the complete other opposite side. That is all going to be villains.
That's
Now,
crazy.
now, now, just of that though. But if you come back over to the right side, that even though that I said it's going to be all villains, I still think there's going to be a plot of land that is going to be set aside. And we could be wrong. And I think honestly, if they announce this at D23 as a surprise announcement, I think the fans would go absolutely nuts if they surprise us with a Haunted Mansion restaurant.
Oh, that would be phenomenal. Like, I mean, absolutely phenomenal. I'm actually going to top you on that one. You know why? Get this. So, and I'm going to play the video while we talk about this, but what if, because there's been speculation and rumors, and as many of you probably know by now, I love talking about speculation and rumors, even if they're true or not true.
Yeah, they're just fun. They're just fun to talk
Yeah,
about.
exactly. One of the growing rumors has been that Disney has been exploring the option of having a hotel inside Magic Kingdom that we kind of see like with Epic Universe. And if they decide to go that route, where you have Villains Land on the outer perimeter of Villains, they build the hotel, right?
Mm-hmm.
What if one of the restaurants they build inside the hotel is the Haunted Mansion restaurant? Because my only thing is, I'm not saying they couldn't build the restaurant in that small plot of land next to Haunted Mansion. What I'm thinking they're gonna do, and this is just my thought, it could be extended queue. I'm not saying for sure, but it could be.
Well, no. They have to have extended queue regardless. So something of that, they're going to have extended queue for the Haunted Mansion because they're going to have to open up those pathways. Because I think what they're going to do is they're going to have an opening pathway that's by the Haunted Mansion that could be another entranceway into Villains Land. And where that pathway begins on your way to Villains Land, that's where you'll come across the Haunted Mansion restaurant because it's adjacent to the attraction. And then it's a nice segue that'll lead right into Villains Land. And now, I'm glad you had that pause. So you see this strip of, right where your cursor's at. That is where the potential so-called hotel may go that would enter in through the back end of the Magic Kingdom. And honestly, shout out to the Noble Way, because he had speculated on this through several of his videos, and I actually agree with him on that. I think if they were to do a hotel right on that strip, that's where they would put it. That's where the extra entrance would be. And if it's going to lead you right into Villains Land, I say do a full-fledged villain resort hotel.
Yeah, that would be fantastic because if you think about it, obviously the projection mapping, the fireworks would be at the castle. That's iconic with Main Street. That'll never go away. But what they could do, they could take a page out of the Grand Helios Hotel with a Celestial Goodnight and use that as kind of like a villains type nighttime show with the fireworks, the projection mapping off the hotel. They could do something like that if they decide to put the hotel in this area, which would be on the back end of Villains Land.
Yes.
And would you be okay? Because this is an ongoing problem that fans have with theme parks like Disney, like Universal. Would you be okay of a hotel being in the background of Villains Land if it meant something like a Celestial Goodnight nighttime show with the hotel as part of the facade? Would you be okay with that? Because obviously it would be a sightline issue.
I would actually be okay with it because they do it out here actually at Galaxy's Edge, where they do, like when the fireworks are going off on Main Street, you're getting a Star Wars story while you're in Galaxy's Edge. I wouldn't mind them doing that down there at Magic Kingdom, where you're actually getting maybe like, instead of it being a happily ever after, you're getting like the darker version where it's based off of villains, because the thing with Magic Kingdom is it's so big and it's so deep in that when you're on Main Street, you won't be able to see anything of villains or vice versa.
No.
Now, when you're in Villains Land, if they were to have the architectural of the hotel match what the architectural style is in the land, then it'll fit in perfectly. It'll look seamlessly like it's part of the land. Now, also, too, I want to make possibly a minor correction that the plot of land for the hotel, potential hotel, might be actually after that roadway.
Yeah.
Where they may have to break up the road and make it circle around.
Uh-huh.
And actually that plot of land that's already before the road actually might be for expansion later on in the years. Yeah, that plot of land right here. So that actually might be potential expansion for Villains Land itself. And then the land that's beyond the road, that's for the hotel.
Yeah, no, 100%. I can definitely see that, because the hotel would still be close enough where they could do projection mapping if they wanted to.
Yeah.
So I like that idea. I know a lot of people might say, well, you're putting a hotel and yeah, it's going to ruin the immersion of villains. And I'm like, yeah, but on the other hand, you're adding a hotel to Magic Kingdom, like connected, which people have wanted, from what I've heard, for several decades, so it would be a perfect opportunity to do so. But I can't see this hotel, if they decide to do it, starting anytime soon. It would be probably well into the early to mid 2030s before they start that.
I think if they were to do the Villains Hotel, that would probably be announced in 2028.
Yeah, 100%. Well, let's jump across the way to now Hollywood Studios. And this is, again, courtesy of Bio Reconstruct, the door coaster. We've talked about it off and on for months.
It's going vertical.
It is. It's going vertical. What is your thought process on this type of attraction? Because Disney's never done an attraction like this. This is the first of its kind for Disney. And we've kind of speculated off and on that it could be a family coaster, which it seems like it is. Do you think it's going to cater to all, or do you think it might be like a Pterodon Flyers that we see at IOA for kids?
Okay, so obviously with the IP with Monsters Inc., they're going to want to still draw in some sort of the family kid aspect to it. And as you had mentioned, this is the first kind of suspended coaster of its kind at a Disney park. So they're going to want everyone to experience it as much as they possibly can. And also a minor note too, it's not even just gone vertical. I think a couple days ago, they just installed the first piece of track.
They did.
Of the ride itself. So anyway, back to your question. I think what they're going to end up doing with this particular ride is it's going to be in that middle sweet spot. It's going to be more thrilling than Slinky Dog Dash, but less thrilling than Rock and Roller Coaster.
Okay, so it's going to be in between.
Yeah.
Okay. So my kind of thorough question to that is, do you still think it could cater to all, or do you think it's going to be mainly a kids coaster?
I don't think it's going to be like a kiddie coaster. I think it's still going to have like a height restriction where you have to be, I don't think you can be like a small kid. I think you would have to still be maybe, I'm not really too keen on how the inches go, but probably, what is it, like 42 inches? I think I would say maybe like 42 inches.
100%. So
38 and 42 inches.
No, for sure. So a lot of work is happening in the former Muppets courtyard.
Oh, and they're right there. That's for the Glob Theater.
Yeah, right here. Or no, right here. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
right
yeah.
here. So a lot of work's happening here, and then we can see a detail of the entrance in the Monstropolis right here. They have some concrete support columns right here, so that's really good to see.
Which I think is very interesting because they're even doing construction outside of the entranceway. So I'm very curious to see what they're going to put there that's going to lead into the land.
You know what I can possibly see, and this is just speculation, is because when we were out at Epcot, right, and
Mhm.
they were doing the Flower and Garden Festival, we saw a lot of topiaries that were, shape of Disney characters.
Mhm.
What if they could be doing the same thing here as kind of like a grand entryway to accommodate the archway?
They could. What they could do is, yeah, they could take the greenery and they could make it look like in the monster world how the shrubbery can look resemble like creatures, like monsters
Yeah,
and kind of stuff like that. That would be really cool. But we do know for a fact it is a guaranteed. Wow, man, that land's gonna be massive. Like, look at that. Like that was just the little area, and then
yeah,
it just moved all the way back to the coaster itself. Like,
yeah.
what?
Let's
This
take a
is like,
look. Right, right.
look at that. That is like, dang.
That's going to be a big land. Like, I mean, huge.
Well, and the fact again that I had mentioned before that they bled into the parking lot
Yeah,
tells me that Disney does not mind if they have to spare a parking lot.
yeah,
Um, that who's to say that they may even as I said before, see that extra parking lot that's to the left of the coaster,
yeah,
that could potentially be for future expansion. And as I said, I'd do Monsters University.
yeah.
I would build the campus.
That would be awesome. That
Um, Oh, but what I was saying was we are guaranteed by Disney. They did give us a hint that they are going to explain more of this project at D23. So this is a given that we will be getting more information on. Probably the Glob Theater, maybe the show that's going in there. We may hear more about Harryhausen's, maybe some of the food, some of the merch, maybe a possible opening date or timeline. But no matter what, we are definitely getting more information on this project for sure.
and I can't wait for that. What one of the things I want to ask you is because we actually saw some of our fellow content creators go out to Walt Disney World and Hollywood Studios to actually walk the construction site. And I know I floated this idea to you, being that I consider you a charter member of D23. Obviously there was a little hiccup, and obviously according to Disney you're not, but I consider you a charter member. Um, being that kind of like the media side of our content creation, group, um, our community got to be on site of Monstropolis. Do you think Disney would explore the option of maybe offering that to D23 members as a paid experience?
That
If
would be really cool. I think that that would be an excellent idea because us diehard Disney fans would have the opportunity to experience it ourselves. Disney could capitalize on that revenue because I'm sorry, I would pay a hefty price to do that. To put on an Imagineering hard hat and a vest and walk the construction site to know what it's going to become, that would be awesome. Or even if Disney did a paid VIP tour that's part of like the resort guests
yeah,
that they do the tours, I'd pay for that tour.
100%. I would too. So this is going to be the final video from Bio Reconstruct before we jump over to our dear friend Alicia Stella from Theme Park Stop, where she's going to kind of go in more detail about Tropical Americas, and me and Hollow Gelato are going to react to that video. But being that Bio Reconstruct has the advantage of the aerial shots, again, I'm going to refer to you on this video because you know what this area used to be with dinosaur and all that. So I'm going to kind of let you take it away and explain what we're looking at here.
Absolutely. Yeah, so this used to be the old Dinoland USA area. Obviously, that bigger plot of land. Okay, so what we're looking at right now, that used to be the old Restaurantosaurus area, which I'm for sure that's where they're going to have the newer restaurant. It looks like that they're not touching those buildings right now. I don't think that they'll fully demolish them. They'll probably just upgrade them to kind of like fit the land itself. But prior to that, that big open plot of land used to be Chester and Hester's Dino-Rama, which they completely removed, and that's going to be for the Encanto attraction, which basically is that plot of land was used for theme park before, but this is actually where they demolished it from down to the ground, and literally they're rebuilding back up. So we could already see that the show building for Encanto is massive. I don't even know. We still don't even know like what kind of ride. Like we have an idea that it may be some sort of omni mover kind of attraction, but we still don't know exactly what it entails. But they also did mention that the storyline is going to be based off of I forget the young kid's name, the one that has the power to talk to animals, that we're going to go on the journey with him and how he gained his powers. And there's going to be some sort of friction, some sort of thing that he has to come together to help or save the animals. And I think that's a great storyline that would fit into this kind of park. And then you're also just getting just the IP of Encanto in general. But yeah, so that whole area is literally going to be of Encanto.
100%. And it seems like, because I know we talked about maybe a month or two ago that we were kind of concerned about them possibly having this ready by 2027. Because I know you and me wanted to go back down there next summer to see Tropical Americas. But being that we've seen the show building, that it's at this point it's pretty much enclosed fully, and they're doing a lot of work on the roof, obviously for HVAC and all that. And then you kind of have this area right here as they show it, which will be the house, that we walk into to get into the queue. Do you think that they're further along than we think?
So it kind of looks like they still have some work to do, but I think the bigger brunt is pretty close to being done, because you have to think, we were just down there in March.
Yeah.
When I went over to see a little bit of the construction, because I know we didn't get to take a whole lot of time because it was raining that day, which again, for some bizarre reason, I cannot go to Animal Kingdom on a day that it doesn't rain. I don't know why. It just falls into that category. It has to rain. Any day that I pick for Animal Kingdom, that's just how it goes. But I got to see a little bit of the construction, and they just had the skeletal of the building up. So it literally only took them 3 months to go from that to what we're looking at right now. So if it only took 3 months, I mean, we still have a year. We still have 12 months. And I think really they just have to build the facade of the house itself. They'll put in the cement and the pathways and what have you. They have to still, and that I believe is the skeletal structure work for the carousel that's going to go in. But that won't take too long. I think honestly, a carousel is pretty quick. And then I don't know. I don't think it'll show it in this bio reconstruct. I'm not sure, but they already have the skeletal on the facade for Indiana Jones for the Mayan temple. And the thing with Indiana Jones is the building is there. They don't have to really do anything with the building. They just basically gutted the whole inside, and then not really. Well, let me rephrase that. They didn't even have to gut the whole inside. They keep the track.
Yeah.
The track layout is still the same, but they're just filling it in. So really, Indiana Jones shouldn't take that long to be completed. It's basically getting Encanto up, the restaurant, the carousel, and then the pathways. And I think honestly, they can get it done within a year if they decided to open it in June. Now, if they decide to open it maybe later on in the summertime, and that's another thing too. Anytime something is said it's going to open in the summer, we also have to take into consideration a lot of times when people think of summer, we think of how it was during the school time with summer vacation, June, July, and part of August. But when you say summer, you have to go by the seasonal time. And really, summer runs till September 22nd. September 22nd of this year, that's when fall starts, the fall season. So when they say summer, something can open, it could very well open in September.
Oh, for sure. So the last thing I want to review with you again is, let's see. I'm going to see if this is going to work, but this is from, again, Alicia Stella from Theme Park Stop, and she actually goes into further detail of Tropical Americas. This is going to be the first time I'm watching this video as well. But George, you know the drill. I'll play the video at any point. If you want me to stop it, let me know. I'll pause it. We'll talk about it.
Sounds good.
All right, let's do it. Here we go.
A temple facade has appeared for the new Indiana Jones ride.
Well, that was a instant.
Holy Mary, Mother of God! That scared the crap out of me.
Well, let's start there. You said you wanted to see the facade. Break it down for us.
Okay, so as you can see, the building, as I said, still stands. They removed all of the dinosaur, the Aladar that's out in front, all the signage. So basically, the building is as how it is, but they're just building a little bit more outward. And you could already see the shape with the steel framework of how the concept art looks for the Mayan temple. So basically, once they get the Mayan temple in, and then of course they'll design the building to look maybe a little bit more in the realm of the Mayan culture and what have you. And as I said, then they'll work on the pathways that lead up to the attraction. And then, of course, as I said, they gutted most of the inside, but they did keep the track. And they'll just fill in like all the extra stuff. So I'm very curious to see how long really Indiana Jones. I'm more curious to know if they're going to open this in phases or if they're going to open the land as a whole. Because here's the thing. If they open the land as a whole, they're going to have to put almost everything on virtual queue.
Yeah. Oh, guaranteed.
But that kind of worries me because if they open it up in phases, then that's going to screw up some of our plans, because I don't want to just go down for one thing and then have to go all the way back down for the other. Yeah. It's like, I want to be there as a whole, but then I would like to be there for the grand opening of it. So it's like less of two evils.
Yeah, pretty much. But
coming to Animal Kingdom at Walt Disney World. This will be an original Indiana Jones ride and not a clone of the one at Disneyland. Nearby, the base of the magical casita is being built for a new Encanto dark ride. Plus, framing for the carousel, new buildings, and work on the land's entrances are happening now. Let's check in on construction for all of Tropical America's land, replacing Dinoland USA in today's news update. The dinosaur ride closed permanently in February of this year, and now we're seeing a tall Maya temple facade being erected directly in front of the former attraction's entrance building. The first pieces of steel for the temple facade started going up just last month, and it already resembles the official concept art and the model for the new attraction's facade. This stepped pyramid is being constructed directly in front of the former Dino Institute Museum facade, with some former elements still remaining, just being covered up. Window openings along the side of the former frontage are still visible, as well as decorative trim along the tops of the building's front. These elements will likely be covered with tiered, flat, ancient-themed walls, as seen in the scale model for the land. The round short wall atop the roof of the building has been removed, with these black squares now in place where it was previously connected. This little round wall used to block where the ceiling is raised up to a point in the center, the highest spot in the queue where the Carnotaurus skeleton was located. On the right of the ride entrance, work is happening atop the roofs of the covered exterior queue. Connections for new themed elements seem to be added.
I don't know if it's just the video, but I'm hearing it like as an echo.
Really? Let me see. Hold on a second. Let me see.
At first, I thought it was like just how the video is, but it's like there's certain times where it's like it sounds and then it goes like into like a really like high pitched echo.
Let me see. Okay, here we go.
Rear queue. Connections for new themed elements seem to be added. Here is how this queue area will appear according to official.
Okay, so instead of playing the audio, because for whatever reason audio is not cooperating, I'm going to play the video just with no audio. But big shout out to Alicia Stella for this video. But George, maybe you can walk us through what we're looking at instead of Alicia telling us because of the echo issue, because you were actually at D23 2 years ago when they made this announcement for Tropical Americas. So you can walk us through this.
Yeah. So basically, what we're looking at again here is this is actually a piece of concept art that they showcased to us, where we get to follow Indiana Jones into the Mayan temple to pick up a specific relic or artifact. And there is what they're calling, and they still have not yet announced what this is, but they said there is a creature that lures in the temple itself. They did not give us a name of what the creature is, or they may have. I don't know. Maybe they have. But we don't know what the creature looks like. But they're definitely going to have to give us a storyline of an antagonist kind of thing, because when you go through the ride of Dinosaur, we were being chased by the Carnotaurus. And like how at the end of Indiana Jones Adventure, like the grand finale, where you have the big boulder coming at you and you go down.
Yeah.
Well, in Dinosaur, you have the Carnotaurus coming at you before you go down. So they're good. So if they're keeping the track, they're going to have to give us a finale of something coming at us that we have to escape. So I'm thinking whatever that creature is, that's what's going to come at us as the grand finale.
That would be awesome. That would be fantastic. And again, I'm super excited because George, it's funny, like George mentioned, it was raining heavily at Animal Kingdom. Like, I mean, it was insane. But obviously, we were there. You know why? I got my little dragon friend from Avatar in the background over here. So, I was there.
Which I'm glad you got him, because right now, I think someone just posted, they are very low on demand on Banshees. They only have one color available right now, and it's the purple one.
Interesting. That is interesting. And I actually got the limited edition. The problem with my Banshee is it seems like he's always hungry because he doesn't want to close his mouth. And I thought he lights up like the other ones, and he doesn't. But the fact that he's there, that's proof enough for me. But it was raining so heavy. Like, I mean, the walkways were like little mini lakes because the water was just like, it was like solidifying in like different sections of the walkway. So it was like almost walking in a small pond. It was that flooded. It was crazy. But George is like, I have to see the updates to Tropical Americas. And I'm like, I wish you luck, bro. Because it was raining cats and dogs. It was thundering so loud. It was ridiculous. Like, I mean, God was bowling like crazy. Him and his buds. Because it was constant thunder and lightning. It was ridiculous. But he ran back there and got updates. So, the fact that we were only there, what was it, 4 months ago? because it was in March.
3
months ago, and they've made this much progress, being that Florida weather is very unpredictable. It's pretty fascinating, to say the least.
Yeah. And I hope that the house interacts like that.
Yes.
I hope like the windows, the shutters, the doors open. Like it's just like that would be really cool. But they also were talking about possibly the storyline of like with the animals and everything that I had mentioned about. So again, that'll fit into the realm of for Animal Kingdom using Encanto. I hope in time that, again, a lot of times people think, okay, well, this is just Tropical Americas. This is it. This is it for now, but there's also always room for expansion and upgrading. And honestly, I hope that they eventually add in another section to Tropical Americas. So you have Encanto, you have Indiana Jones. I eventually would like to see a Paradise Falls added into for Up.
That'd be cool.
Because Up has already shown presence at Animal Kingdom. They have Kevin that walks around the park. They have Doug and Russell doing their meet and greet. They have the Wilderness Explorers little kids program. The bird show was at one point named, Adventure is Up there or something or other. So yeah, Up has a big presence in Animal Kingdom. So the fact that Paradise Falls goes into the realm of South America, which is basically where the Tropical Americas is, I would like to eventually see a future expansion of them doing a Paradise Falls.
Interesting. And you're not wrong, because some of the footage we've seen from Bio Reconstruct, especially with Animal Kingdom, you look at Hollywood Studios specifically, there's a lot of extra land they can use for expansion. Like, I mean, anytime, and it's funny, anytime Universal and Disney, they announce new projects or just news in general, it's like one announces something, then the other one responds. And that's why I kind of love Orlando, is because they have the room to kind of go back and forth with battle. And I love that, because at the end of the day, we all win as guests, because we get to experience these, stories in person. It's one thing to see movies based off these iconic characters on a movie screen. It is a whole different thing to experience it on location in the park setting, and you have all these interactive elements, and you're kind of living the moment of these characters, which is really cool.
Yeah, and that's the beauty thing, as you had mentioned, not even just the Walt Disney World Resort as a whole, but like just speaking of Animal Kingdom, within the land, it's like the park itself, of the land that they still have within the perimeters of it. There's lots of them for them to still use, plus all the extra land that's behind it that was part of the cow pastures. That's what used to be before it became Animal Kingdom.
100%. So I paused this on Alicia Stella's video is because this was a article from Blog Mickey on May 22nd, 2026, which was literally just last month. And it says Imagineering extends an Encanto ride permit to late 2027 or late spring 2027. Do you think that is a concerning factor that they are running behind schedule, or do you think there was something else behind that they're not yet telling?
That could be a number of things. It could be they could be running a little bit behind. It could be they're waiting on maybe more materials that are, that needing to be, or if just, maybe something with the tech or the ride. It could be anything. But the fact that they're saying that it extends the Encanto ride permit through late spring, that doesn't necessarily mean they're just talking about the permit. So if that's going to be late spring, then I'm assuming that the ride itself won't open until, I'm still aiming for the summertime.
I would hope so. As someone that would be my second time going back to Walt Disney World, I would hope so. Because if many of you don't know, I am planning in the next 5 years or maybe less to move down there because of just financial reasons and the fact that there's so much to explore with Walt Disney World. Like, I mean, the theme parks and the hotels are one thing, but as Hollow Gelato pointed out to me and Tommy when we were down there, there's a lot of activities outside the theme parks, or the parks part of Walt Disney World, and there's that track, by the way, that people don't do because they go down there for the parks. They don't realize Disney has other offerings that are outside the theme parks. And it's almost like content heaven out there. Like, I mean, there's so much to explore, but don't get me wrong. When there's special celebrations at Disneyland, I'd be the first of many people to fly down to the West Coast and go to Disneyland, because Disneyland will always hold a special place in my heart because of the connections with my dad going there as a kid, seeing Walt Disney himself walking around Main Street, the fact that it's basically the original Magic Kingdom. That will always hold a place in my heart for that. But Walt Disney World is a whole nother animal, and Hollow Gelato could probably spend 3 hours or more telling you, out of the 30 plus times he's been down there, how much of a beast it is and how much there is to explore, and how many different experiences and areas of the whole resort in general, with the water parks, with all 4 parks, all the outdoor activities that people don't even do.
Yeah, I think for me, after being on the East Coast, being a 2-hour flight away from Walt Disney World, basically spending the better part of like my life there. I've been going there for a span of 24 years before moving out here,
Sure.
so I was like a consistent basis, within 24 years that I was going. And now that I'm out here, now I've probably come to hit the fact that I've been to Disneyland more times now than Walt Disney World, just being out here. But I love to consider that Disneyland is like my hangout spot, while Disney World is my vacation spot. I love when I travel over to Florida, I have to stay in the bubble. I've stayed off property. I think twice, 2 or 3 times. And I tell you what, I will never do that again. If I'm going to Walt Disney World and I'm on vacation, I'm staying in the bubble. And honestly, even the same for Universal. If I had the opportunity to do Universal or Walt Disney World or both, I know we only just stayed at Walt Disney World, but still went to Universal, because it was a little bit saving of money because of the length of time that we were going. But even when I go to Universal, I like to stay in the bubble. I like to stay in the Universal bubble. So I like to stay on property while I'm experiencing all the parks. When I'm at Walt Disney World, I like to stay there. And then I'm able to do like the dining plan and everything. And it just, I don't know, it just gives you a different kind of feel that it's like you're being catered to. Where when I go to Disneyland, yeah, there's times where I do like little staycations, where I stay. But it's like I like to go to Disneyland, do my thing, do my content, hang out, and then leave and come back home.
100%. Well, let me ask you this before we end tonight's video. You mentioned about the dining plan, and that was something you offered as being our tour guide and our travel agent, basically, for me and Tommy to experience Walt Disney World and Universal Orlando for the first time. Would you recommend as a former travel agent, but kind of still dabbling in it a little bit, for us as friends, would you recommend any first time goer that wants to experience both, both Universal and Walt Disney World? Would it be better to stay on Walt Disney World property in the bubble because of the benefit of having the dining plan, which saves you so much money while you're down there, and food is almost like a afterthought because it's covered?
Yeah, I think if you're a first time vacationer going into Florida for Walt Disney World or Universal or both, and this is like a one time experience, you can only get there every so often, and you're going to experience Walt Disney World and Universal in one trip, and you have the money to do so. Think of it this way: you're going to be spending the money anyway. So the whole question is, how do you want to spend that money? Do you want to not spend it up front and go down and keep, spending and checking on like what you're spending each day? There are people who like doing that, and there's nothing wrong with that. Then there are the people that, actually myself included, I like to save up and put out the whole chunk for the dining plan up front. And that way I can go and I can get my snacks, I can get my desserts, I can get my entrees, I can get usually the appetizers don't really count for the dining plan. They used to, but they don't anymore. But still, that's still a big chunk that you don't have to worry about, of what you're spending because it's already bought and paid for. It can get a little pricey depending on which dining plan that you want, and also the length of your stay. The length of your stay depicts of how many dining credits you're allotted to. And then if you are doing Walt Disney World and Universal, again, it's not just because I'm Disney biased. I have stayed on Universal property. I do enjoy it. I love it. Hopefully in time, we'll be able to stay on Universal property so you can experience that as well, Conductor. But I think if you had to pick and choose because of the aspect of the dining plan, I would stay at Walt Disney World every single time.
Because I will tell you all, doing the dining plan was such a weight off my shoulders. And George mentioned it, paying for the dining plan as you're booking the vacation and then going down there and not having to worry about that is such a huge weight off your shoulders, to the point of you can experience the dining, you can experience maybe grabbing some merch, you can experience everything the resort has to offer on what you plan on doing. Because some of the dining locations we went to, Be Our Guest is one of them at Magic Kingdom. I will never forget that. Being in Beast Castle, that was legendary. I mean, legendary. And it gets even more magical because we saw Beast himself. And if many of you have probably seen me in the park, I'm 6'3". Beast had to be like 6'8", 6'9", almost 7 foot tall. This guy was huge. And then to top off the entire night, the wait staff, oh my gosh, at all the restaurants, and I'm talking about Universal and Walt Disney World, were just top notch. The service was incredible. But being at Be Our Guest, after Beast came out with Belle, I think twice, we actually had a couple that was literally right, probably about 15, 20 feet away from us, from our table, because we were sat in the main dining room, the ballroom. They actually, the boyfriend or the fiance actually proposed right in front of us. It was that type of magic you don't see anywhere else.
And I'm so glad, because there's 3 different rooms that make up the Be Our Guest restaurant. I'm so glad for your first time we got the ballroom, because that's like the main focal point.
Oh, it's beautiful. Like, I mean, the attention to detail for a restaurant, not an attraction, a restaurant, was insane. The amount
And
of
next time that we go back down, because I know we had it planned, but things changed because, again, they used to have it on the dining plan, but now they removed it. I still want you and Tommy to experience the California Grill. And I think, honestly, since we spent, the money at Space 220, which, again, was still a fun experience. As I said, the moments that we had in that restaurant, we will never be able to get back. So, like, I don't regret that. But being that we did pay for Space 220 because that's not on the dining plan, since we won't be doing that again, I think if we had to pick one other restaurant to kind of save a little bit of extra money that'll come out of pocket, I would say to do the California Grill.
And I can't wait because Hollow Gelato has mentioned it many times. When we go to a high-end nice restaurant like Steakhouse 71, I dressed up in my nice suit. It was a great feeling. Like, I mean, I couldn't even believe I was there, and I dressed really nice because I like to dress really nice. And I heard that California Grill is like that, so I cannot wait to try that out. But kind of tying everything off that we reviewed today with Walt Disney World announcing the holiday dates for Christmas, for both events, for the Christmas event at Magic Kingdom and the Christmas event at Hollywood Studios, and then seeing all the updates with construction and whatnot, both on the West Coast and the East Coast. How excited are you for D23, knowing that there is a high probability that it's going to be an update presentation for the parks?
Honestly, any kind of new news that we get from the parks, I'm excited for. I don't know why people have this fixation on, okay, we got that announcement 2 years ago. Now let's have another announcement. Let's have another announcement. You can have 50 announcements, but if we're not getting nothing done, then what's the point of having an announcement? I think people just got to get that thrill of like, oh my gosh, that was a big announcement. I wasn't expecting that, which is great. But after the announcement is done, it's done. You know, I want to know so we can experience the big announcement. Let's hear like some opening dates or opening timelines. Let's hear about the ride system, the ride vehicle. What is the storyline about? What's the technology behind it? What is the land itself going to have? Like, and don't get me wrong, I love big announcements. Trust me, after the years of the Chapek era of like getting almost absolutely, I don't want to say nothing, because there were some times we did get when he announced with the Ratatouille ride, Cosmic Rewind Tron, you know, we did get some of that stuff under his wing as, through the chairman of the parks and him becoming CEO. But I'm just so glad that we did all the stops, but now I want to know the details. Yeah. We got the big announcement for Villains. That's great. One piece of concept art. Whoopity-doo. That's great. That's awesome. But now, 2 years later, I want to know more. Yeah. I want to know, what can we expect? So any kind of new news that comes out of the parks, whether it's Blue Sky, whether it's fully a big announcement, whether it's updates, I'm all for it.
100%. And like I said earlier on, George, in my eyes, is basically a charter member, so he knows his way around the floor and everything about it. It's going to be my first time at D23, so I encourage everybody, if you see me in the parks, if you see me at D23, which I will be there all weekend with George and so many others, please, I encourage you to come up and say hello, because I love that interaction. And I can't wait to kind of talk to you in person and get your feedback of what's going on, what announcements have we seen, what booths we're going to see on the showroom floor, because there's going to be some changes from what I understand at D23 this year. We're not going to have, as far as I know, we're not going to have, the third party type vendors like Mice Chat had a booth. Tom Corliss from WDWNT had a booth. There were several other high-end content creators that had a booth. It's going to be more Disney booths than independent. So I'm very curious to see what that's going to be like, because a few weeks ago I was bit by the D23 bug, and I just spent literally like 6 hours on YouTube watching video from all these different content creators, watching them experience D23 back in 2024 and what Disney had to offer. So I am more than excited to see what they have this go around. And to kind of tie it all off, I would like to see the Disneyland Resort somewhere on property bring back the Blue Sky Cellar so we can keep up on the projects happening at the resort and not just see it on the social media post.
That would be cool. And honestly, you can even give that suggestion, because the beauty part about going to D23, especially when you walk through the Imagineering Pavilion where they have all the stuff out, they have Imagineers standing out. I got to talk to Chris Beatty, which was an absolute dream. I'm a huge fan of his. He was on the projects of the bringing back of the Tiki Room to like the original one done at Walt Disney World after it was like under new management, with Iago and Zazu and everything. And he was just on many different projects. So I actually got to talk to him actually in the Imagineering Pavilion. Wow. I wish I could have got that on camera, but that was at a time when I wasn't doing content, so,
sure.
But yeah, so if they're okay with being on camera and you kind of talking to them, and like, obviously they can't give that like big secrets, but I'm for sure, maybe
sure.
some of them would be okay, with talking about it. But, yeah, so you could actually mention that, say like, man, I would love to have like the Blue Sky Cellar come back somehow, some way. I used to love going in there. You get the air condition, you get out of the heat, but we also get the updates of like what's going on through concept art and the models and everything. And who knows? I mean, they could take mental notes. You never know.
100%. You imagine that. Let me go out on a whim here. You imagine if I suggested something like that, and then months and months go by, and then all of a sudden they announce that.
Then
the wildest thing ever.
Hey, I mentioned several things throughout the time frame that I've been on social media and content creating, and literally Disney did it to a T. So I have a feeling that I'm being tapped. So it's like,
well, to be fair to Disney, I think you are literally one of the only few people that I know that would literally do a track meet on Main Street and chase down Josh tomorrow. So
it's true. It's true. I'm just telling you right now. And we're there at D23 day. If I see him, I'm going.
And I have to run with the bad leg, so that should be interesting. That should be really interesting, because George knows I can migrate through a crowd. Like if I want to get somewhere, I can migrate. Like I
mean, maybe I should just like, maybe as like my kind of like defense, because yeah, you can move around. I should just put you in front and grab onto your shirt, and I just go like I'm skiing, like just going to run.
Pretty much. I probably should. But Holo Gelato, thank you so very much for doing this week in Disney Park Roundup news, and shout out to you as well for the title. I never would have thought of that title, so big shout out to you for that. But where can everyone find you on social media?
Absolutely. You can find me on my YouTube channel, Holo Gelato, where me and Abby cover all of the theme parks, Disney, Universal, Knott's Berry Farm. We even dive into the Disney Cruise Line. We do all life vlogs, event vlogs, and even out of theater movie reviews. We do it all. Check us out at Holo Gelato, and also on our Instagram under Holo Gelato, and my personal Instagram the Disney Italiano.
Absolutely. And again, I love having George on because he's Italian. So that's the first thing right there. That has me sold. Nothing else. No, I'm just kidding. He's Italian. And the fact that he kind of gives his spicy take on what we're seeing in the theme parks, it's just a great time. I think personally for me, having someone like George to do almost a 12-hour straight live stream, we kind of share the same interests.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way anyone in their right mind would spend almost 12 hours on camera doing a live stream and just kind of not care. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I do love that. I do love that. But
yeah, it's the same way. I think honestly, because of just being so crazy in my mind to say, oh yeah, let's do like a full on marathon. I don't think anyone else would do it. I think honestly, you were the only one that would. Not that no one else would want to do it, but I think like they would talk about it, but like to actually execute it, I think honestly, you're the only one that I think would even have the tenacity to do that. So that I do respect a hell of a lot out of you for sure.
Oh, definitely. And I definitely appreciate it for sure. But I am your host, Theme Park Conductor. This has been a magical, magical video. I hope you guys all enjoy. But this coming Sunday, literally days from now, me and Hollow Gelato will be on Conductor Sunday live stream at 7 p.m. on this channel, Pacific Standard Time, for 2 individuals. One of them, I'm not going to announce names, but one of them, George has done content with in the past. The other one that I know of has never been on camera, but he is very active on social media with updates. So I can't wait for you guys to see both these gentlemen, and I can't wait to talk to them.
I can't wait to just do the live. Like that's like I can't wait for that one.
Oh, it's going to be fantastic. But
and also, to really quick note, also remember, Conductor and I will be in the parks on July 2nd for the grand opening of Soarin' Over America. And we'll also probably be trying some more of the food, the merch for the 250th anniversary of Disney. And I swear to God, there's going to be tons of people there, and they better just stay out of my way because there's going to be red, white, black, and blue if people get in my way, because I'm just saying right now. But I'm just joking, folks. That's the Italiano sarcasm. Forget about it.
Oh, dear God. Now he's just missing just a mustache, nothing else. And that would tie it all in. Jeez Louises. Oh, man. This is the type of interaction you will only see Hollow Gelato on, whether it's on camera. It's one thing. But being in person at a location like Disneyland, whole different experience. I kid you the frick not. But I want to thank everybody for watching today's video. Like I said, I will be on location with Hollow Gelato on July 2nd for the new overlay of Soarin' Across the World, which is now going to be Soarin' Across America. And the merch, the food, hopefully George gets a fresh churro this time. I'm going to cross my fingers.
I'm going to retry it. I'm going to retry it when we're out there. Remind me after we get off of Soarin', I'm going to get another one of those churros.
There you go.
Yeah.
And I want to thank everybody for watching, and I will see you guys very soon. Stay safe, stay cool, stay warm, wherever you might be. And I will see you guys this coming Sunday on Conductor Sunday live stream at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a good night, everybody. Or a good day.